Loading. Welcome to Access the Animus.
Hello everyone and welcome to a new video here on Access the Animus. Today we're going to bring you the solution to the mystery of the runes located in the modern day portion of Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which caused quite a number of discussions amidst the AC community during the release period, and all of this thanks to user Faro's Scarab, who discovered it and was kind enough to message us about it. In the video we're going to discuss how the in-game runes are actually identical to some real-life ones which can be found in the Hagia Sophia Mosque in Istanbul in Turkey, and through that we're also going to show you their actual supposed meaning, which will surprise you for sure. Following that, we're also going to speculate about the actual purpose of the runes in-game, if there is one, and wonder if that might be tied to Eivor's final moments and resting place in Vinland, if we're ever going to witness them. If you enjoyed the video, please consider liking it, subscribing to our channel and turning the notifications on so you won't miss any of our future updates. And with that out of the way, let's dive into the modern day runes mystery from Assassin's Creed Valhalla. So yeah, apparently a year later we're still here solving some mysteries from Valhalla's main game, even if in this case the full merit has to go to Reddit user Faro's Scarab, who actually contacted us in private some time ago to tell us about their findings. For those of you who might not remember, back when Valhalla was released there was a lot of discussion about a specific set of runes that could be found in the modern day part of the game, which is set in Maine in the US, close to the city of Concord. Exiting the cabin, if you go on the right hand side towards the elevated area where you can look at the landscape in the background, and then turn to the rocks again on your right side, you will find the runes etched in white over the rock's surface. The mystery about them came from several factors. Of course, the fact that they seemed unintelligible, sure, but also that apparently they were actually carved by Eivor herself. In fact, if you get closer to them with Layla, she will actually pronounce this sentence.
Eivor carved these runes. I didn't know I could read these, but that's the bleeding effect, I guess.
So apparently this is a message written by Eivor, that Layla even understands, supposedly because of her bleeding effect, that is the effect caused by the Animus that slowly makes the user's memories blend and mix with those of the historical character that they experienced in the machine. But even if Layla gets the meaning of the runes, she doesn't really translate them. Back when we finished the game in 2020, and when this was still a hot topic, we even thought, what if we go in the same location with Basim? And doing that brings a new interaction, but not a useful one.
A message for me? Not likely.
I mean, it does remind of Jacob Fry stating, a letter? For me? So you could say it was useful, just not for our purpose. So basically, at the time, several members of the community did try and understand what this was about, but to no avail. Until a few months ago anyway, at least to our knowledge. And that was when Faro's Scarab came to us. Yeah, it took us that long to come up with a video. Anyway, Faro's Scarab told us that by inspecting the runes closer, they did find them to be almost identical to one of the pretty well-known Hagia Sophia runes, which are two runic inscriptions located in real life on the marble parapets of Hagia Sophia, which is the famous mosque of the city of Istanbul that was also portrayed in Assassin's Creed Revelations as the properly named Constantinople. Now, these are proper runic inscriptions supposedly belonging to the Viking Age that are believed to have been carved on the parapets of the Hagia Sophia Cathedral by some members of the Varangian Guard in Constantinople, which was an elite unit of soldiers that were mostly Norsemen from Scandinavia and Anglo-Saxons from England, and that belonged to the Byzantine army from the 9th to the 14th century AD, meaning that Valhalla's historical period is pretty much included in there. The interesting but also a little anticlimactic thing here is that the runes found in-game are exactly the same as one of the Hagia Sophia runic inscriptions, which has been mostly translated and interpreted, and get this, as Halfdan carved these runes, which is basically the Viking way of, vandalizing historical monuments by writing "I was here" on them. And it shouldn't even surprise us too much. Even the ancient Romans, when visiting Egypt, carved some inscriptions on the pyramids about themselves and their family. So what does this mean for the in-game set of runes then? Who knows really, especially because it's a direct copy of the inscription found in the Hagia Sophia Cathedral and not a modified one. Thus, the in-game runes also say Halfdan was here and not Eivor was here, which would have been way more proper considering that Layla states that Eivor carved them, and also that the modern day location of the game is placed exactly where Eivor was buried in the US, that is in Vinland. One could hypothesize that maybe this inscription was reused to hint at Halfdan Ragnarsson somehow journeying to Vinland along with Eivor before she died, within the Assassin's Creed lore of course, but we have already seen that Eivor participates in the Siege of Paris long after Halfdan's historical death in 877 AD. Maybe within the lore he survived his historical death, it wouldn't be the first time for a historical character to do that in AC, or maybe the runes here really are supposed to look like an Eivor was here, or more properly an Eivor carved these runes kind of message, which would feel historical enough, or maybe they were just placed by the developers or the artists for fun. That wouldn't be the first time either. Still, in my opinion, this is not really just a texture, it has an interaction point, and there are even 2 lines of dialogue that have been written and voiced by the Layla and Basim actors. The game wants hard-looking fans to know that something is there, so maybe there still is more to these runes, and maybe that is tied to Eivor's death and burial, considering how close it is to Eivor's final resting location. After all, the game and its post-launch content haven't shed any light about how and why Eivor went back to Vinland in her final days, and, you know, the whole game starts with that, with Eivor's grave, and it even ends with Basim in front of her remains. The mystery about how she died is right there from the beginning, and it should have its closure sooner or later. Yeah, I know, I'm romantic like that. I like to see closure to the narrative threads that are open in the various games. And possibly not in a side comic, but what do I know? We can still hope that this final part of Eivor's journey, maybe including the context of these inscriptions, is going to be told throughout the Year 2 post-launch content. But at least on paper, if that's going to happen, it's going to probably be towards the end of Valhalla's life cycle, because considering how the game is designed, and to make each new update available to every player at any time, each of the post-launch stories has started and ended within the status quo defined by the early phases of the game, with Eivor being a leader in Ravensthorpe along with all the members of the Raven clan met during the game. Thus, if every news story has to start and end in Ravensthorpe, there's a low chance we're going to see Eivor's final moments before the end of the post-launch content for the game, which is also indirectly kind of the same motivation for the New Game Plus potentially being available at the end of Valhalla's cycle, even though that's because of progression and technical reasons rather than story ones. Unless that happens in the upcoming Sword of the White Horse novel published by Aconite Books, which is going to be a new story with a new main character, but which is also going to portray the events directly following the end of the main game and taking place in 878 AD. We already know it will feature Hytham, Valka, the Hidden Ones, and an artifact, so, you know, it's best to keep an eye on it, just in case. And that was it for today's video and for the solution of the modern day runes mystery thanks to the findings by Faro's Scarab. What do you guys think? Are you happy with the result? Do you think it provides more material to speculate on, or were you disappointed by the rune's actual meaning? And also, do you envision Eivor's final moments to be actually featured in some upcoming DLC content for the game? And if you do, how do you expect them to happen? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in our next video.